Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Public Works Podcast. My name is Joseph Blackman. And today we got a real treat for you. His name is Aaron Kirkland, and he is the superintendent of green water or green stormwater operations at Philadelphia Water Department in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Aaron, say what's up to everybody.
Hey everybody, how you doing out there?
For sure, for sure. All right, Aaron. So Philadelphia, a lot of people know it's a big city. It's a lot going on. You guys got a decent football team there. Not the, probably not as good of a year as we probably thought they would be having, but that's okay.
Oh, come on,
That's
Joseph.
okay.
Come on, man. You
Why
know
do
we
I
the
see it?
best.
Why do I see a KC logo? Oh, it's the eagle on the cheap. Oh, okay, okay. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? Okay. But before we get into all of our football takes, let's talk about your job title. I love titles because some are super vague. They don't necessarily tell exactly what the job is and what you do. So you're a superintendent of green stormwater operations. Tell us what that job title means, and then tell us what you're actually over.
Okay. So the superintendent, that's the position I'm in currently. I oversee the daily operations of our green stormwater operations unit. I make sure that my team has the things they need to do their job well and be efficient at what they do. I also spend a lot of time on developing talent and future leaders for the unit. We are a newer unit within PWD. PWD is an old utility established in 1801. In 2011, we started an initiative called Green Cities Clean Waters. And this initiative was geared towards keeping pollutants out of our waterways, reducing combined sewer overflows by 85% through green practices. So over a 25-year time span, uh, certain funds was allocated to help with building out existing infrastructure and to support the build out of green surfaces and subsurface components. So I oversee that unit dedicated to maintenance.
Interesting. You just said a lot, so we're going to unpack some of that in there. So, first of all, green. I've never heard green attached to stormwater. And give us like kind of what stormwater is, and then also what's the green aspect of stormwater. When I think green, I think of like I don't know, like nature, like clean, kind of like greenwashing something. But I'm sure it's a different definition for you.
Absolutely, Joseph. And that's a very good question. So when I talk about our combined sewer systems, historically, Philadelphia had over 400 miles of streams. Those streams were converted into sewers. Over time, it became an issue for overflows, in which there wasn't enough capacity for it to fully reach our treatment plants and do the job that it's supposed to do before being released back into the river. So when you have an overflow, that creates issues with pollutants in our waterways. So the green aspect of our work is stormwater management practices, SMPs. We have different tools in which we have placed in different parts of Philadelphia green spaces. They can be planters, they can be rain gardens, they could be trees with systems underneath. But ideally, these systems are supposed to slow down by infiltrating the rainwater that comes to alleviate some of the pressure from the combined sewer system.
Interesting. When I live in Arizona, and it's interesting, like Arizona, they don't really think about storm because it doesn't rain that much. But when it does rain, it's like a big issue. Everything's flooded. There's water everywhere. Like it just sits. You know, a whole bunch of mosquitoes. But anyways, a lot they have retention ponds where the water goes, and then the water just goes into the ground table over time, like over the next 2 or 3 days. Is that kind of the same concept of like the planters and the gardens to say, hey, we've got stormwater here. It might be some rainwater, and it's going to go into the water table or into the ground that way instead of going into the combined sewer.
Right. I know for a fact, Tucson, Arizona, they have a nice green stormwater infrastructure program. We met a few times to, just exchange information and share our best practices. But yeah, so ideally, that's what those systems. That's how those systems are supposed to function. Yep.
Okay, makes sense. When I read books or even watch movies like from the 1700s, 1800s, you talked about the streams or kind of like the canals that was where people put like their wastewater. That's where people put that stormwater runoff. Like it could be a horse stable and like all the water that washes the poop into the stream, and that stream is running down the center of town. Like a lot of people don't realize that like there were no pipes back then underground. So all that wastewater was just flowing behind people's houses into the river, to the lake. When I think of Philadelphia, I think of like an old city. Like this city's been around for, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of years, and so I'm sure it started that way. Kind of what have you seen with your eyes that go, man, that's how they used to do it back in that day versus like what we do in 2025.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, of course, that's way, way, way before my time, but the Philadelphia Water Department is an awesome utility, and they do everything they can to provide great service for our customers. But yeah, our existing infrastructure has been built to last, and yeah, I can't imagine living back in that time, but it feels good to live in 2025.
No, for sure, for sure. Um, Operations is something that's near and dear to my heart because it takes operators to operate. I mean, you can't use robots right now. You can't use, you can't outsource it. So you have people on the ground. And you talked about developing talent. Kind of dive deeper into that. Like, where you find the talent from, what the talent comes in the door like, and then how you develop talent to be able to operate in your green stormwater department.
Okay, so the talent is very important. Retention of talent. You want to train folks, and you want them to stay. That you invested in them, and you want those folks that you recruited to become leaders, so that they can invest in future staff. So we spend a lot of time developing proper training, implementation of the training, our QA/QC efforts to make sure that we're providing good quality with our maintenance efforts. But for my unit, particularly, the building blocks of our team has been through our Community Apprenticeship Program. And what we do is we recruit folks who have gone through a workforce development program or has gone to a high school with a focus on horticulture because of that green aspect. And once we bring an apprentice on, they're paired with a mentor within our unit. That mentor takes that person under the wing. They're actually included in performance reviews and everything. So we take the mentee relationship seriously. And that program usually runs between 6 months to 12 months. And in that time, it's like a student work relationship where we're training this person. Hopefully they have the basic skills of coming to work on time, understanding some basic horticulture skills, and then we spend time developing them over that year, 6 months to a year time frame, and then they're eligible to test because we're civil service in a civil service position, which we use a ground maintenance series, and the ground maintenance worker one position would be entry level. So they would take their experience and now they would qualify to test for this position, and then from there they'll move into an entry level role where they'll get more acclimated to some of the power tools and other things.
Interesting. The you talked about those coming out of high schools with a horticultural background. What does that look like, and what would be kind of your message to, I would say, more high schools around the country to install, implement a horticulture program so more people can come out and kind of have a idea of what they're going to be get into if they get into a green program?
So one of the high schools I sit on the occupation advisory board for is Walter B. Saul High School. They have a few programs, but one of their programs is geared directly towards horticulture. So they get all the regular education, but then there's this focus and this skill set. So a lot of schools, I guess, are not aware of the projects we're doing in the green industry. So what I've done is I've put together a few slides. I've gone to the high school every year, closer to the end of the year, and then I kind of lay out what green stormwater infrastructure is, the different jobs that are available in this industry. And then I try to keep a good relationship with the instructors, the teachers, so that when I'm looking for an apprentice, I could get a few resumes from this potential pool of talent. But yeah, it's a need in this industry for talent and people who are interested and have some basic know-how of how to
Sure.
tend to these living systems.
Sure, and it's cool that you're going to schools and serving on boards in that capacity, because it's one thing for a high schooler who's 18, he graduates, now he goes to this career fair, and it's like 2,000 people there. It's this huge auditorium full of tables. He's like, what? Like, what do I do now? Versus him seeing you come to speak at his class of 30 people and go, this is what we do for Philadelphia Water Department, and here's how you can come help. One thing I know is that you probably have a lot of competition with other departments in the, from the city for that same talent. It might be the streets department. They might be looking for somebody. It might be like, let's say, the graffiti abatement department, the solid waste department. So what's kind of Aaron's elevator pitch to say, hey man, come join up with us?
My pitch is real, so
Mm.
I don't sugarcoat what this work is. It is hard. We work in all weather conditions. It is very it can be monotonous sometimes because of our maintenance frequency is routine a lot of times. But my pitch is one, this is our community. You live in this community. What we're trying to do is tackle three things: is environmental sustainability, the beautification of Philadelphia, and to create jobs for people that live within that community. My second pitch is because I get a lot of high school students that say, hey, I'm going to college, or you got someone who may be thinking about going to college. So for those who may be thinking, you can start this career path, and we do have a tuition reimbursement program
Nice.
within the city of Philadelphia. So if you could get a head start and start in a career, you could pick up night classes or whatever once you figure out what you want to do. You can enhance your skills and move to another level of GSI maintenance. It's not just ground maintenance that's involved. We have environmental engineers, we have scientists, we
Yeah.
have tech positions. So getting your foot in the door with the city and then seeking out those resources won't like defer you from your dream,
Yeah.
if it's more education you want to pursue.
No, for sure. For
But
sure.
also, my pitch is also this: is that what kind of kept me was this new thing that we're building in the utility. Like, we're one of the newest units in here,
Uh,
and you have the opportunity. And I always saw this as an opportunity to help with the build out of something new that will
yeah.
sustain long term.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We got to dive into the origin story of the superhero of Aaron Kirkland. You know, I'm sure when you show up at class, you're like, who is this guy? Then you start talking, they're like, I want to be this guy one day. And if they could follow your career path or some of it, they might be able to end up where you're at one day, leading a department and being the guy who's serving on boards at the school that they probably attend. So to give us the origin story of Aaron Kirkland.
Okay, so my start into this career was I faced some challenges when I graduated from high school. I did get into like the auto tech field. I used to install brakes, oil changes, tires, and that's where I kind of got my foundation for working with power tools and things like that. I am a returning citizen, so when
Mm,
I was released from prison, I dealt with the reality that getting a second chance wouldn't be that easy. I went through the occupational advisory handbooks, and I realized that me being successful at re-entering back into society would be a challenge, and that was a challenge. I went for many interviews and just couldn't land a decent job. And then I reached out to our mayor's office, and they had a program called Rise. So I went down to Rise, and they connected me with this workforce development program, PowerCore PHL, which was under the umbrella of AmeriCorps. And when they explained what PowerCore was, it was in its first year of getting established. They mentioned you would be able to work alongside the Philadelphia Water Department, and they had this new thing that they were doing with GSI, Greenstone Water Infrastructure. And I signed up. You got a small stipend every month. You got some other resources. But I learned a lot, and while I was serving my time in Power Corps doing environmental stewardship. And one of the scientists from the water department came and did a presentation, and he laid out this Green Cities Clean Water initiative and how it would impact the city. And my eyes just lit up at the slides, and I knew this is where I wanted to be. At the time, they didn't have an internal maintenance team. So when I completed Power Corps, they told me about an apprenticeship opportunity. It would be a year apprenticeship, $10 an hour, but it was the beginning of something. So they didn't promise anything after. So I walked on blind faith, but I didn't take the opportunity lightly because it was 70 participants in Power Corps. I was one that was selected, and I took this as an important opportunity for me and a step forward for me. So we came in as an apprentice, and we started to build out this internal maintenance team. And at first, we didn't know what was the future vision for this maintenance team. All of the titles had not been built out yet, but over time, from our work as apprentices, the department decided to invest more into this unit and see the benefit of it. I promoted to various titles, some titles that did not exist when I first started. So I am the first superintendent of this unit. I was the first supervisor of this unit, but I promoted to ground maintenance worker 1, ground maintenance worker 2. I was a foreman for a few years. I led a team. I became the supervisor. I started overseeing teams, and then I became the superintendent. But that was pretty much my path. I always had a desire to go back to school. So that's something I did the whole time. I would take night classes at community college. I ended up getting my associate's degree, and then I went back to Temple University, which I'm in now. I'm in my last year at Temple, and the department has supported me with the tuition reimbursement program and everything. So that was my
Oh,
path. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. I respect it. You talked about blind faith. I
Yes.
think every man, we all go through this point in life where we're like, we just got to trust the process. We can't see the next step on that bridge, but we just got to take the step knowing it's going to be there. What was that to those who might be in a position like that or might be in that position in the future? What was kind of the catalyst to trust, like you said, have blind faith and knowing that it was going to work out, versus, making sure everything was in line before you got it started.
Yeah. So when I say blind faith, it's like that. Well, I knew that if I applied certain principles to my life, and there's principles that I still apply to my life now, committing to excellence, I knew
Mm,
that if I apply certain principles, having integrity, things like that, working hard, doing more than expected to, that a door would open,
mm,
if it was supposed to be. I also sought out mentorship. So Gerald Bright, he was my first supervisor, manager. He was a visionary. And anytime I felt as if my works or my effort were not seen, or I didn't get what I thought I would get for doing a certain action, he would reinforce me and encourage me. And he always saw more in me than I saw in myself at the time. Like he saw a leader in me when he first met me, and I couldn't see it until I stepped into leadership. And trial and error, you start to learn who you are, as a leader. But you gotta seek support, mentorship, and you have to encourage yourself sometimes. You have to believe in the principles that you're applying in life, and that when you do this, everything has a reaction to what you do, what you put out in life.
yeah. Yeah. You started off as a worker 1, then worker 2, then worked your way up. What's it like being in leadership from literally being a worker 1 to now being the leader of worker 1s and 2s and their leaders? What's kind of the mindset shift that you have to be a leader? And then also, what are some things that you carry with you from like knowing what that work is like to be able to identify what they might be going through?
So being a leader for me, it's a big responsibility that I take seriously. I'm leading young folks that are in the shoes that I were in, or that I was in. For one, that gives me credibility in my leadership, knowing that hey, I did the same thing you did. I will never ask a staff person to do something I've never done. That gives me the credibility to lead. I didn't just come out of nowhere. I actually was a big part of building this unit out. Secondly, is like I take the responsibility seriously because I know that people are looking at me as a leader. Everything I do, everything I say, I have to walk the walk. I have to talk the talk and walk the walk as a leader. So if that means having to get my hands dirty again to show you the job, if that means having to have that difficult conversation with you because you're late all the time, or if that means termination and discipline, progressive discipline leading to that, that's always a hard thing for me as a leader because you impact people's lives with that. But um, leadership is just it's a big responsibility, and I take it seriously.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right. If I asked your crew, how many times have they seen Aaron Kirkland out in the field with some gaiters on and a face mask in the last 30 days? How many times would they tell me?
Uh,
Come
honestly, maybe one or two times.
on. I get it, man. You got emails, man. I get it. I get
Yeah, like
it.
I try to schedule it on my calendar,
Yeah,
but I'm pulled into a lot of different things. Like right now,
I get it.
I'm on a strategic planning team. I'm working on building out these trainings into a LMS system, learning
Yeah,
management system. I'm in a ton of meetings. I'm a member of the Green Infrastructure Leadership Exchange, so
yeah,
I'm meeting with other cities to talk about our program, and I'm doing recruitment efforts. So
yeah,
I do have two supervisors that work directly under me, and I kind of get my message through them. They do a lot of the QA/QC efforts, so I make
yeah,
sure that they're having their one-on-ones. I may sit in a few. I might do some site visits with them, but I really push them to make sure that a presence is felt
yeah.
on our team. You know.
No, I get it. Most of us, we think we can get outside more and be with the guys more, but come on, when the last time we seen Sirianni throw a pass or catch a ball? Coach is coach
Honestly,
players play.
I miss it, and my
Yeah,
manager always warned me that when you are called to different, I guess, responsibilities, you will miss the original things you used to do.
um,
So promoting up, I always had to let go of things that
yeah,
I wanted to do and not
yeah,
be a micromanager and say, all right, I know I could do it well, but go ahead and do it. But
yeah,
that's part of growth too. Is like I don't want to
mm,
stagnate people under me growth too. My
yeah,
job is to grow new leaders and prepare someone to take my spot. That's
yeah.
kind of like my thought process in it. So
No, I learned that the hard way is that when you do somebody's job for them, they see you as somebody who's inhibiting their growth. And like,
right.
I never want to be that guy. I don't want to be in front of somebody else in their growth. I want them to grow. But if I'm doing their job for them or micromanaging them through it, they'll never grow. And it's like, now I'm the bottleneck. So no, that's something that I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Um, skill sets. Tell us what's the main skill set somebody should pick up to be successful at what you do today.
In my role particularly, or just like the general skill
In
set you look for?
in your role for Green Storm infrastructure as a superintendent.
Okay. So in my role, you need to have an understanding of how these living systems in urban areas work. We use a plant pilot that is diverse because we are impacted by urban living. So set street sediment, cigarette butts, tree care. You have to
Mm,
have some idea of how these systems operate. You need to understand how equipment works. Sometimes you have to be the one to fix the tractor or to
mm,
help get the trailer connected. You need to understand inventory. What do you need for your team? I believe that they need boots and bullets. That's what my
mm,
manager taught me. He was like, your team needs boots and bullets. So I need to be able to have an eye and see what they need to make the job easier so that I can procure these things. You have to be good with working with people. We
mm.
have a lot of different personalities. I
No,
can't talk to person A like I talk to person B. Emotional intelligence. That's something that we have to have when having communication with our staff. Logistics. You got to know how to get a person from point A to point B.
yeah,
Fleet management. You need to know the schedule of PMs. What what vehicles do you need? Is it pickup trucks? Is it a baby dump truck, a F-550?
Mhm.
You know, what equipment you need, and then contract
Rocket science, man.
management. Yeah,
That's a lot, man.
con- contract management. I mean, you gotta be able to work with these vendors,
Yeah.
put these bids out. It's a lot. And asset management, you gotta be in that asset management system and make sure that you communicating. Everyone's included, and scientists, engineers, our grounds maintenance staff, on what's the issues with the systems, work order
Yeah.
creation, when the
Yeah.
last time this system was visited. And I've done all of these things. um I've taken on a lot of responsibility as a supervisor because we didn't have the staff yet.
Uh,
So now I have a data services person. I have help now. So when
yeah.
these people came on, I knew exactly what I would assign them.
You do this, yes, because I don't want to do it. Yeah. Yes.
And I know what to look for. I know what the end
Yeah.
product looks like. I've done it. So you just gotta have adapt. You gotta be adaptive as a manager and really be able to put fires out early.
Gotcha. Yeah. Thanks for scaring everybody away from that position. It sounds like you got to be Superman. All right. It's story time. And I need a story from Aaron when something went wrong under your watch, what you did to fix it, and then what lessons you learned from it to apply to your future career.
Okay. So a few things have gone wrong. Everything's not perfect. One thing that stands out to me now that just popped in my head was in 2020, between 2020 and 2021, I was promoted to an acting supervisor. And we know we had the shutdowns, and we know how everything was going on with COVID. And it was a few things happening within the unit at the same time. So we had a hiring freeze, we had limited staff, but our scope of work was increasing, and morale was down. The message was changing every day on how we were to operate, trying to
Yeah.
keep people separated.
Yeah.
And it was a lot as a new leader. And I was like, what did I sign up for? It's like
Yeah.
talking to my
Yeah.
wife, like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I signed up for. But I was determined. My manager kept me encouraged. He always said that, it's nice when your job becomes your calling. And my response was always, I'm the man for the job, no matter what was going on. And right after, I guess, things opened up with the hiring freeze, we did like this big hiring. Like we had a few new staff come in, and my interview skills were not that good at that time. And I brought folks in, hired them on, and they created an issue with like our team morale. They didn't want to work. They had a lot of discipline issues. Um, I kind of like waited to bring these issues up and deal with it accordingly. And then at the same time, our scope of work had increased. So I met with each one to see what was going on. But long story short, it didn't work out. We transferred some of these people out, and we made some changes to our staffing. But it impacted the team, and work was up. We wasn't hitting our numbers. Um, Morale was down. Our team spirit was down. So I spent like a lot of time rebuilding the team, rebuilding our team culture, owning my mistake. Hey, I'm sorry. I took on too much work. I should have spoke up. When you're a new leader, you quick to say yes. Yes, I can do it. Can you do
Yeah. Yeah.
this many sites? Yes, I
Yeah.
can do it. I guess I was trying to prove myself. And
Yeah.
yes, we'll take these people on, but really I should have slowly hired people so that they can mesh, and the team culture wouldn't be impacted. I should have scaled back on some of the sites and allow for my team to feel the wins of hitting your goals. But I was immature as a leader. It was something I had to grow into. But now I'll tell you straight up if I can't do it. If my management team like, hey Aaron, can you do this many more? I will give a real assessment of what we have, inventory, staff, and I'll say no, we can't. But if you give me this, I can. So I think that was a big learning lesson for me. And now team spirit is up. I always look at attendance to see how we're doing with team culture.
Attendance. Really?
People are coming to work every day, and people
Really?
are, can hear the laughs and everything going on in
Yeah.
the break room. I
Yeah.
know that I'm doing a decent job with team culture. And plus, I have the help now. I have great supervisors that really support my leadership. I have a great data services person that really supports my leadership. And the upper management, they really support me. So I mean, that was definitely a learning lesson. And I didn't know how I would turn it around, but I knew back to my principles that if I learned more about leadership, I listened to a lot of John Maxwell, that if I implemented these things over time, I would see results. You know, it's like at the gym. You go to the gym, the first
Yep.
day, you're not going to see the results of your work.
Dang it.
But if
Yeah.
you keep going consistently, eventually,
Yeah.
you know, you'll look in the mirror and you'll be pleased with what you're
Yeah.
doing. So that's the same. That's the same mindset that I've developed
Sure.
over time.
Sure. Yeah. You talked about hitting numbers. Like when I think of green infrastructure, I don't really think numbers at all. I think of like how pretty the tree is pruned and how good this looks and all that. But what are some of the quantifiable numbers that you have to hit, whether it's week to week, month to month, or year to year?
Absolutely. So we have monthly goals. So I'm responsible for roughly 600 systems in Philadelphia. They're broken into 3 districts. I have 7 maintenance crews. We're working on our 8th maintenance crew, and they're split between our supervisors to oversee those portions of the districts. Our maintenance frequency is high because we're not complaint driven. We're very proactive in our maintenance efforts. So we see these sites once every 30 days. So that means initiation of maintenance or inspection, pre-maintenance inspection. If our supervisors see that through pre-maintenance inspection, we need to do maintenance, they will activate a work order automatically through a yes or no checkbox. So our crews know their sites. They're familiar with their sites. They see them every month. We teach our staff to own their sites, and that's what they do. So that's our goal, to hit all 600 systems within 30 days. We're still expanding as far as our scope of work. This is a big project with GSI construction, and they're still coming online. So yeah, when I say maintenance goals, we have them, and we use a lot of visuals to encourage our teams to
Right.
do competition, but
Yeah.
positive competition, where we post like how many sites one team got over another.
Okay.
But we do it by vegetated area, because you could do 3 trees and that was 3 work orders, or you could do 3 rain gardens. So to make it fair,
Oh,
we make sure that it's by vegetated area, and we post this every Monday.
okay.
Teams get excited, and then we highlight someone every month. We got a spotlight champion.
Okay.
We got where everybody votes who's somebody that's a shining star this month. And
Uh,
then I come out of pocket with $50 and, and I give it to them and I say,
okay.
hey man, keep up the good work, But morale is a big thing. When you take
Yeah.
care of the people, they'll take care of the work.
Uh, um, what do you say to those out there who say, "Oh, my bosses would never support, a budget for like you said, these little incentives or just having this kind of fun." And like you said, you came out of pocket. Like, what do you say to them to say, "Hey, man, if it costs you $50, it'll pay out in dividends, later on. So just go ahead and do it."
Yeah, that's my model. You don't have
Mm.
to follow. You don't have to follow my model, but part of it is I appreciate them. Like I really
Mm.
do, because I've done so much by myself. When the team started building out and I saw like my 1 car in the parking lot turned to 12 cars in the employee
Wow.
parking lot, to 15
Yeah.
cars in the employee parking lot, and they come in to the building and you hear noise and everybody's getting
Yeah.
ready.
Something
And
going on. Yeah.
a lot of times they don't hear the good stuff, they don't hear the good job, they don't hear, so I really make it my business to let them know, like, I appreciate them every day, because it's no I in team, we a team.
Yeah.
I played a lot of sports growing up, and that's what I was taught, is like, we a team.
Yeah.
If I get an award, we got an award.
Yeah. Yeah. The you starting a brand new department, does it feel like you're kind of like a startup entrepreneur? Because let's be honest, you're putting the plane together as you're flying it. Like I'm sure there's no rubric on exactly how to conduct this department. So what are some of the moments where you're like, man, I'm figuring this out on my own?
Yes. So I mean, that's part of why I went back to school for
Mm,
business,
mm,
MIS, major, managing information systems, because I did see a lot of the business aspect that's in my work, and I liked it. You know, I like management. I love the horticulture piece. You know, I planted plenty of trees. I still assist with that, but the management piece and that higher level of vision for the unit, where's it going? I really enjoy that part of my work. And but being like in my shoes of building something that didn't exist, I remember I asked one person like, "How am I doing as a leader?" And he was like, "Well, I don't got nobody to compare it to." I was like, so,
right? Like,
so,
am I winning or am I losing? What's the score? Yeah,
so you could take that
yeah,
as, well, I don't have nothing to measure, or you
yeah,
can just say, I'll just keep creating and see how things happen. So
yeah,
I appreciate the opportunity that I had to build from the ground up, because I've done every most interviews. I've
yeah,
done a lot of the first things for this unit, and I never had no one to say no. Maybe no
yeah,
was just a delayed yes, or
yeah, yeah,
it wasn't in the budget this year, next year. But I get a lot of support, and I think that's why I've been so successful as a leader. Of course, I've made plenty of mistakes, but one thing I try not to do is make the same mistake twice. I really don't.
right. I think
It
that's
costs
life.
too
Yeah.
much. But I do want to say that though this unit was different, I'm not the first leader. So I've always reached out to other leaders within the
Yeah,
department, like
yeah,
one of the superintendents of flow control. I was working on some internal policy stuff, and I was like, if you had time, would you be able to meet and talk about this? He invited me to his office, and he went over a lot of things, like the union things, stuff that I didn't know about, and
uh,
the history of the department. And I appreciate people like that person.
sure, sure. So now everybody knows to go to Aaron if they have questions in regards to
I
their
try my
city's
best.
new green stormwater program.
I'll try my best.
Um, speaking of getting better, how does Aaron? You talked about going back to school. You talked about some of the books. But what are some of the things that, again, somebody starting a new operation, a new department? What are some things that you do intentionally to keep operating more efficiently, to put more information into your brain?
So yeah, I definitely believe in studying your industry.
Mm,
If you think you know it all, then there's a problem. So I'm always reading something. I've connected with other cities who have started their program, and maybe I share information first, but then a year later, they may surpass us in one area of maybe training or the GSI Maintenance Handbook. I will connect with them and get more information on what they're doing and see if it's something we can implement.
uh,
But staying on top of the game is important, because I'm leading people, and sometimes I want to say this, I fear that they'll catch up to me and I'm no longer able to teach them.
yeah.
So the only way to keep teaching them is for me to keep learning
Mm,
and admitting when I don't know things, and allowing other people to take the lead if they know more than me in a particular area. I got a great supervisor who had 15 years of landscaping, and he showed me plenty of things where I was like, wow, I never thought about it like that. So
yeah.
it's a way I did things as a supervisor, and it's a way they do things. But I never like step on their toes and say, this is how it has to be done.
Yeah.
If you hit your numbers and nobody got hurt, you good.
Yeah.
But another opportunity I get too in this position now, which was hard to do as a supervisor, was I get to see how I can make other people's jobs easier, because
Mm,
now I get a different perspective, because I'm not face down with them.
yeah.
So to say this,
Yeah.
but I can go back and say, oh, you need that tool. This tool will make it
Uh,
much easier. Or we need to build this training. This training will stop this QAQC problem,
yeah.
so I really appreciate the level I'm on now to be able to better support my team from a
Gotcha.
place that I've been where they've been.
What kind of brand you rocking? You doing the Husqvarna for the power tools? Like, not to piss any other vendors off, but I just want to see what you got going on over there. Other vendors get a little spicy about that.
So so I mean, majority of our landscaping tools are still products.
Okay.
It's dependent on the vendor what they provide
Yeah.
that builds on the contract, and they get the contract. But most of our equipment is still. We try to stick with the same product,
Yeah.
because fixing them and learning the parts that we need for them,
Yeah.
Makes it easier. Then like our power tools, Hilti, Milwaukee, we have
Okay.
a few DeWalt's, but then some John Deere mowers. We
Okay.
just got this new electric mower, which I really
Ooh.
love. It's still
How much
uh
productivity you get out for a day?
I think we get about 20 hours of battery run.
Okay.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
load it up to a transport trailer. We take it on the street. We maintain our own grounds too. I always tell our staff, our house got to look better than those
Oh, I
systems.
see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah. It's like
But it has some sense of smart technology. I mean, I only got on it twice because that's it's not my
yeah, you
job
gotta
anymore.
try
But
it out.
I
Yeah.
had to try it out.
I bought it. Gotta try it.
But it has like some smart aspect where it can like read the the level of grass and switch blades and stuff like
Okay.
that. So it's a really cool tool. When I started, we didn't have
Yeah.
anything like that. So
He's like, I did this by hand.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's say you're at the Philadelphia Eagles tailgate party, or you're tailgating before the game,
Mhm.
and somebody asks you. They say, "Hey, Aaron, you seem like a cool guy. What do you do?" And you tell them, you say, "I'm Aaron, and I am the uh, superintendent of green stormwater operations for Philadelphia Water Department." What do you think they think? Like, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about your position?
Oh, what would they think? I'm a Greenstone superintendent. I honestly don't know what they would think. I mean, there's a green aspect, there's operations, there's stormwater. Maybe they think I oversee some type of piping system. I think I
Uh,
get that a lot. I know when
okay.
we first started, even from other staff in PWD that wasn't in our unit, they could not figure out what we were doing out there. I had a few folks say, "Are y'all on punishment? What did y'all do that?"
Is this the PIP program? Yeah. Is this the place where they said, "Oh, y'all"?
But I think we think it just pipes when we think of PWD sometime, but it's so much
uh,
more. I mean, operations is so much more. There are a lot
yeah.
of great units in here and a lot of our maintenance is in house. Like people would be surprised. We have a painter title in here.
Uh,
We have building maintenance. We have plumbers.
wow.
But there's a lot of different jobs in the city of Philadelphia and PWD.
Sure. Sure. Let's say you're commissioned to put up a billboard, and this billboard is in the most trafficked area of Philadelphia. What ask of your community in regards to green stormwater would you put on this billboard?
Hmm. I see litter as a big problem that could be contained with proper education.
Mm,
Even when I was a kid, I mean, it was regular to throw trash on the
yep.
ground, and
Yep.
even if
Yep.
you place a trash can there, if the minds don't shift to
Yep.
putting the trash in that can, the trash would be right next to the trash can.
Yeah.
And I would say, you know, the the future is more than us.
Mm.
We This probably be a long billboard.
It's all good.
Let's use the resources, but save some. I would
Yeah.
say, while I'm here on this planet, be mindful of your trash, something like that. Our guys do a great job. Our team do a great job of cleaning these systems up, and to go back every month and see piles of trash back again,
Gosh. Yeah.
it's a lot, and the community can get involved. And I know there are some. There are a lot of community groups and friends groups and communities and
Yeah.
shout out to them for their efforts. But each one has to be aware of the impact of trash.
Yeah. Is there a litter abatement removal department for the city, or is it kind of just fall under whatever department has to deal with litter?
Yeah, I'm aware of a few projects that's going on with combating litter issues, especially short dumping. There's a
Oh,
lot of short dumping in the city where people just
yep,
contractors come out and just dump loads of short
yep.
dump, and those impact our systems too. So there's a 311 you could call if you do see large amounts of short dump, and they can remove it. Our team, they don't have the capacity to move too much, but they'll
Uh,
call me and send me a picture. Hey, should we take this? And I'll look at how big it is and let them know if they should contact 311 or throw it on the
gotcha,
back of their truck.
gotcha. I always like to leave a space for you to thank mentors that you had along your journey. And then also, once you give a word of inspiration and motivation to your fellow green stormwater superintendent counterparts across the country?
Okay. First and foremost, I would like to thank Gerald Bright. He was my mentor that guided me through the water department. He was my first manager. He gave me the opportunity through the interview, and he saw more in me than I saw in myself. When I think of Joe, I think about the acorn and the oak tree. If the acorn is not in a place that it can be taken care of, cultivated, it won't grow into its full potential. So he saw that in me. Alex Warwood, he was the environmental scientist that took me under the wing too. Once I got hired, he the one that came and did the presentation where he talked about this new Green Cities Clean Waters. I know I'm missing a few, but yeah, anybody that came into my life that has guided me or gave me good advice, I really appreciate. A message of inspiration. I know this work is hard. There are like days where we feel like, especially in the city government, is like your vision for something. It takes so long when you don't have the resources. But I would say keep your vision. Um, Align folks with your vision and execute.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. You're from a place called Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I know you
Yep.
guys. I normally ask about a burger, right? Where can I get the best burger? But I know what you're gonna say. You want a Philly cheesesteak, so I want a Philly cheesesteak. Where can I go in Philadelphia to get the best Philly cheesesteak? Let's go.
The best Philly cheesesteak. Now, I like burgers too,
Okay.
and I've got a pretty strict diet. But when I do have my cheat days, I will get a cheesesteak from Larry's. It's on 54th and City Line Avenue. Actually, Kobe Bryant, when he was in town, he would stop by there and get a cheesesteak. They got his pictures all over the place.
Okay.
But yeah, they have great cheesesteak. My wife love it. My kids love it.
Okay.
And yeah, that's the spot.
Okay. So women eat Philly cheesesteaks too? I thought it was just like a guy's thing.
No, my wife loves
Does it?
cheesesteak. She loves cheesesteak.
I'm sure our wives will get along.
They got something called the belly filler.
Oh, that's what she got.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
Miss
break it
Kirkland.
down. We
Yeah.
break it down for the kids, me and my wife, and we'll have a good time. But we won't carry that on to the next day.
Yeah. For sure, for sure. Well, Aaron, thanks for hopping on the podcast today. Thanks for sharing your wealth of information and knowledge with us. To all the listeners out there, make sure you share this with somebody who you think needs to hear it. Aaron, any final words before we get out of here?
Joseph, thank you, man. I appreciate this time, and I hope
Sure.
that this brings awareness to Greenstone water infrastructure and how frontline communities are impacted.
For sure, for sure. All right. Well, this has been the Public Works Podcast, and thank you everybody for tuning in.